I'm going to record. There we go. So we're not going to go all the way back to the beginning. I did forget to record in the beginning, everyone who's watching this recording. But this is, so we started at DetroitBlackFarmer.com, right? We came to, oh wait, I want to make sure. We came to apply, and that brought us to this page. We have some short questions answered there, and then we clicked on apply. That brought us to the application, which is here. So we're just going over in some of the links. We have our frequently asked questions here. So these are questions that we've compiled based on things that we've heard from applicants in the past. And so this is just a great place to start in terms of any, overall general questions that you might have about filling out the application. There's a plot plan link here. So this is a document that will give you information on how to create a plot plan, which is required to apply, and a budget. So this is a makeshift budget that we created so that people could fill that out. Also required is a letter of support. So we talked a little bit about how a letter of support would be a letter from maybe a community organization that's familiar with the work that you're doing and familiar with you as a grower or someone that's been growing food or wanting to grow food. A neighbor, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. There are some instances where we definitely want to make sure that you talk to your neighbor before you move forward with your application and purchasing land, because we want to make sure that you don't get not outbid, but your neighbor sometimes the neighbor to a side lot or a neighborhood lot has a right of first refusal, right? So we want to make sure that folks are, the folks that are next to that property you might want on board with your project, right? Because that will help you moving forward as you get ready to start putting your hands in the soil. And then finally, optional are photos and video of your farm or garden if you're already farming or gardening on the land that you are trying to now purchase. And then I'm just going to, oh, can you hear me? Hold on. Let me see if I can. All right, I'm going to mute everybody just to, you guys can unmute yourself if you have questions, but I just want to make sure. Okay, there we go. I know it's tough sometimes to make sure you're not on mute. Okay, and so those are the documents that are required. Those can be attached at the end of the application, right? And so we talked about this at the last application webinar too. So the application it does have a lot of questions and there are a lot of things that you need to answer. So it might be better as you go through it, maybe, put all your answers into like a Word document or like some other kind of document on your computer. And then when you've gone through all the questions, all the answers and you can fill in everything, then come back to the application and fill it all out. That might be the best way to do it, just so you make sure you don't miss anything. And, if you want to go to one of the, of course, it looks like these links opened in another window. But I know sometimes stuff gets messed up and the link gets opened and then this Google form, it'll erase the stuff that you had on the page already. So I don't want that to happen to you. So if you don't have all your answers completely ready when you sit down to do this, I would say open another document and do it in there and then just cut and paste your answers over when you're ready. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense to everybody. And so I will move down just a little bit. Yeah, applications are due by midnight on next Monday, August 9th. So we have some time to look through all of the applications and make sure that that we have time to get ready for our awardees to be announced in the fall, which will probably happen in September. And then there will be a mandatory orientation and a one-on-one meeting with a representative from the fund once you've been selected as an awardee. And that's when we'll kind of start getting you more acclimated to just the process. We have found specifically with the land bank, there are some folks that have tried to purchase land that wasn't owned by the land bank, but most people have been trying to purchase land that was owned by the land bank. And so that process can take anywhere from like 3 to 6 months. That's one of the reasons we want you to have all these documents attached to your application. So those are all ready to go. And so, it's just a question of moving things forward and moving things through with the land bank. And we have a lot of knowledge and wisdom on that we've learned from our experiences last year that we are absolutely going to offer to our awardees so that you guys have have the ability to move through the process as smoothly as possible. But yep, and then let me see. Oh yeah, name and photo associated with your. Oh, okay. All right, and let's keep going. So here are just some questions about, do you agree with our mission, right? And I talked a little bit about this, about how our mission is to rebuild intergenerational farmland ownership for Black farmers here in the city of Detroit, right? And just making sure that you're aligned with that. And so, if you're not, then this might not be the thing for you to apply for. But if that's important to you, if you are committed to doing Black agricultural work here in the city, and hopefully that you will get to pass that on to future generations of Black farmers, then this is the fund for you. So we want to make sure of that. We want to know a few things about you, right? Like, who are you applying on behalf of? Right now, we support Black farmers in Detroit, Highland Park, and Hamtramck, right? Making sure that you identify as a Black farmer. And we do have here, if you feel you meet this standard but do not identify as Black, please clarify how you identify, okay? But so a few things, just making sure that we are staying true to our name and to our mission. Some information about you, of course, email, phone, how to contact you, how to mail you things. And then this is important too. I do the social media for the Detroit Black Farmer Land Fund. So social media channels and a website, if you already have them, are super important. And it helps, especially in terms of pictures and things like that. You could always just say, check out my Instagram for pictures of my garden that I've been doing for 3 years. So that could be really helpful. Are you currently gardening or farming? Please describe any training that you've gone through to learn gardening and our farming. And I'm going to open up our FAQ because I think it addresses this. Yeah, farming or gardening training, right? So we expect that everyone who applies has some sort of farming or gardening knowledge, but you might be self-taught, you might be book taught, you might have gone to a program at like Keep Growing Detroit or Earthworks, or you may have, or MSU. I know there's Master Gardener programs. So it doesn't have to be necessarily formal training, but we do want to know, maybe your grandmother took you out to her garden every day, every day that she was alive. That's training. And so we want to make sure that, we have a broad spectrum when we think about what is farming or gardening training. So make sure that you let us know that. And also make sure you let us know, maybe if you are signed up to go to a farming or gardening training, in the next few months, or there's something that you're going to early next year. Let us know that too, because again, it just gives us a broader sense of who you are and what you're bringing to your work. And then next, this is also addressed in our FAQs. Are you a legacy farmer, right? Did your parents, grandparents have a garden or farm or farmland? And so that's cool. And we love to tell these stories too. Like, we think a big and important part of our work also is to, lift up the stories of folks that are already kind of doing intergenerational Black, farm work. And so now are moving into intergenerational Black farmland ownership, which is so beautiful. And that's a big part of why we even exist. So this is not to, weed anybody out. We just want to know kind of what is your relationship to farming, what's your familiar relationship to farming and gardening. And just gives us a sense of who you are. And then land profile. So this is giving us information about the land where you currently or hope to farm and garden. Okay, so this is, if you have a name, how much land are you farming and gardening right now? If there's a street address, zip code, if you're familiar. And then let us know, are you a member of Keep Growing Detroit's Garden Resource Program? We expect that most people are, that may have already been growing, right? So Keep Growing Detroit it has a really awesome garden resource program where they distribute seeds, seedlings. They have all kinds of classes. So they have all kinds of Zooms and classes online about like pretty much anything related to growing food and plants in Detroit, trees. They have a tree sale every year. So Keep Growing Detroit is an awesome resource, and they are really helpful. The Garden Resource Program is really helpful for the Detroit Black Farmer Land Fund, because a part of what the Garden Resource Program does also is they do soil tests on land that you're trying to farm or garden on. So of course we're in an urban area. We want to make sure that you're not, farming or gardening or planning to farm or garden on land that's, that has lead or that has any other like trace minerals that are not good for the food that you would grow. And so a soil test, we'll talk about this a little. Oh yeah, here, the next question. It says, have you performed a soil test on your property? If you're awarded, a soil test will be required, and then that will be rolled into whatever your award amount is, right? So last year we had about 30 farmers. We raised around $60,000. So we were able to distribute approximately $2,000 to each farmer, right? Some were bigger and some were less, but on average, it was about $2,000. And so when I talk about that, like that $2,000 amount, that will, whatever we would award you would include the cost of your soil test. Okay, so it's something that's important that we do, because we want to make sure that the produce you're growing is good, but we also want to make sure that that will be taken care of as a part of your award. So, and I saw Jacqueline, do you have another question? I just wanted to finish that thought.
No, no problem. When you were talking about the Keep Growing Detroit, now I went to that link and the membership. I paid the $30. The tour that's coming up, is that what they were talking about? The resource group, is that part of that tour? Because I signed up for the tour through.
Jacqueline, that's completely different. So the tour, the Keep Growing Detroit tour, is an annual tour of different gardens who are also part of the Garden Resource Program, like different gardeners and farmers who just kind of have dope gardens and want to show them off to folks. And but the resources that you're talking about that are part of the Garden Resource Program, if you navigate to keepgrowingdetroit.org, here, I'll drop it in the thing. On the Garden Resource Program page, there's a whole part that says gardener support, garden development support. And they're a huge arm of the Detroit Black Farmer Land Fund, because they're a great resource to farmers who might need special projects, like helping to raise beds. Yep, that's the exact spot, Aaron. If you just like scroll down.
And this was I just clicked on that link that's on the application, and then let's scroll down.
Yeah, and where it says actually gardener support, I think you're just scroll up a little bit. Gardener support. Cool. Yep, right there.
Okay.
And there's a form that you fill out there where you can learn if like they'll come out and help you do the soil test. They'll come out and help you figure out where to plan your things. So you just go ahead and you fill out that garden development support form, and but there's also tons of resources and information right there too. So
and so but folks who are new, they want to start here with the online application. Okay. Yep. So if you're new, if you're not a member of the Garden Resource Program, you should definitely sign up. But you can start here doing that. And then, as Danielle mentioned, we do have the gardener support page has been really key for helping the farmers who have gotten on the land but still need some support. So this is the Keep Growing Detroit Garden Resource Program. So we are very thankful for them and all the work that they help us do. And you may have seen while Danielle was talking, I was just like filling in some random answers here just so we can go to the next page of the application. Okay, have you filled a soil test? Sure. And project mission. Okay, tell us about your mission goals for your, excuse me, I think. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze, excuse me. Okay. Tell us about your missions, goals for your gardener farm. What are your plans from the land? What types of crops do you plan to grow? Be specific, right? Like give us the fullness of your vision, right? Like this is where, we get a feel for what you are going to bring, to the city of Detroit through the Detroit Black Farmer Land Fund. So be sure to be as descriptive here as you can. And then this is important. So as I've mentioned a couple of times leading up to now, that I am applying for funding to purchase. So if you just want the land, You want to say land. If you already have a farm or a garden that you own and you're trying to build a greenhouse on it or some other kind of water catchment system, some kind of infrastructure project, you would just click infrastructure. And then for the purposes so everybody can see everything, I'm going to click this, which is land and infrastructure, right? So if you know that you want to get this plot of land and you want to put you want to do an aquaponics pond or vertical aquaponics or something, this is a part of your project and it's got to be all together, right? So that's when you would pick land and infrastructure. Okay, and I see I have something. Is someone in the chat? Okay, good. That was just Danielle linking more things for the Garden Resource Program, which is awesome. So let's go to, I'm picking land and infrastructure. So let's go to the next, which is okay. So once you click one of those, it's going to take you to the right part of the application, whether you just need land, just need infrastructure, or if you need both. So this is what the land piece of the application looks like. And this is when we start talking about land purchase readiness, right? So what's your relationship or history with this place? We want to know kind of, more about why you're picking, the site that you're picking, the site or sites that you're picking. Best describe your current land situation. Again, I'm just filling these in so we can move through the application because I have to have answers there. This is important. What is your watering plan, right? So one of our farmers was telling me about how on average we are getting 3 inches less water in Detroit than we have been over the past 20 years. And so what that means is that, rain catchment system, irrigation systems, those are things you should definitely be thinking about, when you're doing your plot plan, like where would you get water from? Where would water access come from? Keeping those things in mind. And so letting us know what your thoughts are on that in this what is your watering plan section. Or if you're a nonprofit, are you currently a community to partner with the Detroit Land Bank Authority? And then, okay, so this in terms of land, this is new too. What is the specific address of your first choice of the land? And then in the event that your first choice is unavailable, please list your second choice. So here's what happened to some folks last year. So some folks last year, we said, what kind of, we asked a similar question to this on the application and people, gave us some addresses of land that they thought that they wanted to, potentially farm or garden on. And sometimes, that land is blocked off by the city for something, right? So the land bank is saving it for some kind of development project. Maybe one of the city agencies owns it. Some land is unavailable because there's too much like public land in one area, and so they can't sell any more land to anyone else. So then there are liens, right? So some land still has liens on it from previous owners, and so until those liens fall off, the other people can't purchase the land. So there are just a number of reasons that your first choice of land might not be available. And so what happened to some people was we were going through the process with the land bank, like they're submitting their plot plan, they're doing all these things, and then they get to the point where the land bank says, oh, the land you want is not available. And so then they have to start all over. And so then they have to do all that stuff again. And so what we're trying to minimize that by asking people to give some thought to at least 2 places that they're thinking if they get awarded funds from the Detroit Black Farmer Land Fund, that there are 2 places that they would think about growing in the city. And so that's why we ask you to identify 2 of these, at least 2 parcels of land. So here's a link to the parcel viewer. Okay, so this will help you figure out and find, if you know where the land is, but you don't know exactly what the address is, right? So if you go down here, and this is a search box, so you can search by address. If you have a parcel ID, I don't know why you have a parcel ID, but if you do, you can put it in there. And then, or you can search by address. So if you know another address on the block, for example, of a vacant area that you want to farm or garden on. So this parcel viewer is really helpful for these questions. And then again, I'm just putting in some stuff. And then if you know who owns the property that you want to purchase, right? And I think this is the same link. Yep. And so the parcel viewer. So let me put in what's on Keep Growing Detroit's address, Danielle? I can't. Isn't it 14 something something?
Yeah, 1445 Adelaide.
Okay, so let's just put that in. Is it gonna, what is it gonna do? It's gonna tell me anything? Let's see. I think it does, right? And then you can, there you go. So you can click on this and it'll start telling you to start. Where is the information though? I feel
Yeah,
like
I
there's
think it's like if you scroll down somewhere on that
oh,
page.
there we go. I was gonna say there's something on my screen that you guys aren't
There you
seeing.
go.
There you go. Okay, so if you see this down here, here's a parcel ID. Here's an address of the. Why is it not? It's so weird.
Your screen, if you can make your screen like a little smaller, I think it might
Oh,
show.
okay. All right, hold on. I just, like I said, I just want people to be able to see it. Because it should, let's see, let me click on something else. No, is that, no.
Make your viewer smaller.
Oh, I see. No, that, okay.
No, press like control minus on your keyboard.
I see. Control. This is why I need, hold on. I can do this. There we go.
Yeah, there
All
you go.
right.
See, there you go on
Thank
the
you,
left hand
Danielle.
side. Yep.
Okay. There we go. See, okay. So this is good. This is why teamwork makes the dream work, as my 4-year-old says. Okay. So, and then now, so I've clicked on this parcel here, right? And it's giving me the parcel ID, it's giving me the address, it's giving me who's the taxpayer address. So it gives you a lot of good information. Property class, industrial, right? So that's good to know. So that's probably not some places you're going to be able to do anything agricultural if it's zoned to be industrial, right? So good to know. Taxable assessed value. Okay, so this is going to give you, here's the dimensions. This is going to give you all kinds of information that will help you. Here's some legal stuff. So yeah, so all of this, so this link to the parcel viewer will be able to give you all of this. You got to do some research and do some digging, but it'll give you all the information that we're asking for in the application. That was all I wanted to be able to show you. And then let's see who's in the chat. Okay.
I think also what's helpful is even on like Google Maps, like let's say you don't know the address at all, and you're like, oh, okay, this place is on like Mac and Iroquois or something like that, and you don't know the address. We really, really need you to like take the time and figure out like it is 1234 Mac, that's what we need. That would be a huge, huge help.
Because it helps us help you. Because like we can go to the land bank and say, hey, like these are the places that people are thinking about. We need to know right away which ones are available and which ones are not. So that just helps us help you. And again, that same link will take you to how is this property zoned? Right. Let me go back. So yeah, so that is right there. Yeah, property class, right? Industrial. That's going to give you the zoning information. Okay, so all this stuff is available to you at this link, and then you'll just plug it into the application. Have you made any attempts at purchasing the land yet? Yes, it's very important, especially if you've already submitted a property application to the city or the land bank authority, right? Because then we can hopefully, once we, if we award you, and then, we can help you pick up where you left off with the land bank. Like if you've already submitted this stuff, if you already have a plot plan, you already know what's going on, you just need some funding, right? So it's good for us to know that so that we can help you pick up where you left off. Let's just keep figuring. Oh, to purchase land through DLBA, they require that you're not delinquent on property taxes on any property that you currently own. Okay, so even if you are, it's important that you let us know that, right? So if I recall correctly, last year there were some folks who had been delinquent on property taxes, but they were able to continue through the process because they had set up a payment plan, right? So if you're delinquent on some taxes, but you set up a payment plan, like let us know that too, right? Like, let us know, wherever you are in that process, if you have some issues, and we may be able to, get you some support with delinquent property taxes. If you may not necessarily financial support from us, but we may be able to get you some support with that process and making sure that you are prepared and ready to move forward with purchasing more property, even if you have delinquent property taxes. So I hope that is helpful, but be as honest as you can in that regard. And then average land purchases. We want to support as many as possible. If you're awarded, how much are you able to contribute towards cost of the purchase price? And then this also, so I'm just putting a random number there. But then again, this also speaks to, remember, on the budget, right? So you do have to submit a budget. And so make sure that you put on the budget the same number that you put here. Like what amount are you able to contribute to the land purchase? So let me see. Okay, hold on. Is anything in the chat that I missed? Okay. Oh, okay, cool. Thank you, Danielle, for handling that. And then this is important too. Land ownership is power for our community. Also implies increased responsibilities, paying property taxes, keeping the grass cut, clean up after illegal dumping, water bills, and possible liability if someone gets hurt. Please, we want to make sure that everyone checks there to make sure they're aware for first time homeowners and first time farmland owners of the increased power, but also the increased responsibilities of land ownership, right? And are you also applying for infrastructure funding? Here, let's say agree, and then let's say yes. And this should take us to the next. Oh, hold on for just a second, people. Quick break. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Those are my coworkers, aka my family. Okay. So infrastructure, right? So if you are just applying for infrastructure, you're not applying for land, then when you click that button at the bottom, let me see if I can go. Last time I was able to go back. Can I go back? Let me see. Yeah, okay. Let me go back. And we just did land purchase readiness. But if you, at the bottom of the first page of the application, if you click just infrastructure, it's going to take you directly to the infrastructure page that we're looking at now. But if you click land and infrastructure, it's going to ask you about the land first. Okay. And so let's go back. Let's see if all my fake answers are still there. Yes. And here we go. So infrastructure readiness. These funds are specifically targeted to Black growers in Detroit, Highland Park, and Hamtramck to support infrastructure and improvement projects on land where they're currently farming. Okay. So right at this time, we're trying to limit these awards for infrastructure projects up to $2,000. I would encourage you, if you have an infrastructure project that's bigger than $2,000, or even like think about it, maybe the infrastructure project is $4,000 and you have $2,000, but you need $2,000 from us. Okay, so make sure that you clarify that. If it's bigger than $2,000, I would say at this point, still put it in. You sometimes, if you give us something that's more than what we can fund, we still may be able to fund you at that $2,000 level. We just might not be able to do more, right? So that's what I would say about that. I know some stuff is really expensive for, the infrastructure projects that we've seen. And also think about how, again, that's $2,000 from us. But if it's, if it's other money that you can cover, or maybe you got a grant from someone else, maybe you've also got some crowd funds, if you have other money that you can contribute to that, think about it from that perspective, and think about how you might be, how could that $2,000 from us help you? So describe in detail the infrastructure project you'd like to complete. What's the total amount? What's the amount you're able to contribute? So pretty straightforward. Describe, this is important too, describe the labor support you have to complete this infrastructure project. Now, if the infrastructure project is $1,000 and you're budgeting $1,000 for labor, then that's fine if you're going to pay somebody else to do it. But if this is something that you're going to do on your own and it's pretty big scale and you'll need some support, we want to know that you've talked to some folks and that you have already decided like, oh, these 5 people are going to help me if I get this money. We want to make sure that you have the physical support and the labor support that you need to move forward with your project. And have you completed other infrastructure projects on your land? Okay, and then I need to put some answers in here so we can go to the next page. And I heard someone unmute. Does somebody have a question? Nope, maybe not. Let's see. I'm gonna go back and mute everybody. You can unmute yourself if you have a question though. This is commitment to the land, right? Can you commit time and energy to this project for at least 5 years? So, when we are, giving out these funds to Black farmers here in the city, we want to make sure that there is a commitment to Black farmland ownership and Black farmland agriculture with these funds. And so, if it's not something that you can commit to for at least 5 years now, we want to make sure that you are aware of what our and community-based, expectations are in terms of, farming or utilizing this land for agricultural purposes to support our communities. And so much so that, again, the next question, should something happen before 5 years and you can no longer continue the project, can you commit to donating resources received from the fund to another Black farmer, right? So we just, and of course, things happen. Maybe, people get sick, people have family emergencies, maybe you have to move, something happens. But we just want to make sure that in that case, you are still willing and able to contribute those resources to another Black farmer who can continue to do that agricultural work. That's really important to us, and it's really important to our mission and for us to continue to move forward in the way that we're administering the fund. And what would support from the DBFLF, that's us, the Detroit Black Farm and Land Fund, what would that mean for you or your organization? Everything. Let's see. This is my fake answer. Okay. If you are awarded money from us, are you okay with this being public information, and can we share it on social media? And it's okay if you say no, that's fine too. We just want to know. And is there anything else that you want us to know? And I think I fill out these. Nope. Let's fill these out. And then we're going to get to the last page where I can show you the upload buttons. Let's see if they're there. Yes, they are. So Jacqueline, you were at the last webinar, and that was the only thing. Something had messed up with the page and it wasn't there. But so here's where you can add these files, right? So copy of your plot plan, right? So whether it's handwritten or you do it on a computer or whatnot, you can add that file here. Your letter of support, a testimonial for someone who believes in your project and has confidence in its completion. And then this is important. If the parcel you're looking to purchase is adjacent to a home, right? So that means it's next to it or across the street. You must have a letter from that neighbor or from a community member in the neighborhood where you would like to purchase. And we talked about this a little earlier. It's mostly because of the neighborhood lots program and the side lots program, that adjacent neighbor, that is next to that vacant land that you want, they have a right of first refusal. So because it's next to their house, they're allowed to say, no, I want to buy that. I don't want them to buy that. And so what's happened to a couple of folks this year was, they had been farming or gardening on land that they didn't own yet. They were trying to own it. And maybe they had talked to the neighbor and said, hey, I'm thinking about doing a garden here or whatnot. But the neighbor, when the time came and the land bank went to the neighbor and said, hey, do you want to buy this? The neighbor then bought it, and which kind of pulls the rug out from under you, especially if you've already started farming or gardening there, which really sucks. So again, we're just trying to use all the information that we have from this year to make the process smoother next year. So if you are looking next to somebody else's home, make sure that you have a letter from them, make sure, tell them what you're trying to do. And that just reduces this problem as you get further on in the land acquisition process. Okay. So that's why a letter of support is really important. Land and or infrastructure project budget, description of costs and estimated expenses. And let me see, I think I brought this up earlier, but it might have been before I started recording, so I'll bring it up again. So here's the budget template, okay? And this is, remember, internal funding, that's funding that you can contribute. So make sure that answer from the first page matches the first page of the application, matches this number, right? What number, how much can you contribute? External funding, right? That could be the amount that you're requesting from us. And we also have other, because maybe you got a $500 grant from your church, or maybe there's some other funding that's going to come together to help you put your project into motion. And then here are different kinds of expenses, right? You might have one category might be tools, one category might be raised beds, and then one category might be water catchment, right? And just do a little digging and find out, look on Lowe's or Home Depot. Those are great resources for getting an idea of what are you going to need for any particular project related to your farm or garden, and how much is it approximately going to cost, okay? So, and give us a sense of that. And then I would say total expenses. Okay. I would say if you are doing land and infrastructure, they should put all that together, right, Danielle? That's what I would think. Yeah. If you're doing land and infrastructure, just include everything in one budget. And again, so this is a link that's on the application. And then here we go, optional supplemental video or photos of your farm. Video must be no more than 1 minute, and you can add that here. And then once you add those 4 things, well, you don't have to add the video. The video is optional, but once you add the budget, the letter of support, and the plot plan, then you can submit. So you want to do that again before midnight on Monday, August 9th, which is a week from today. And so I've walked through the whole application. So I want to take a break and stop and see if anybody has any questions about it. If anyone's had any trouble filling it out, maybe they've tried to fill it out and it hasn't worked out for them yet. If anybody has anything that they want to talk about as it relates to the application right now, I would be happy to answer those questions. And glad to see some other folks have joined us too. Okay. All right, no questions. And again, in case folks weren't here at the very beginning, I just came to DetroitBlackFarmer.com. Okay, and that brings us to our website. Here's some of our awardees from last year. And just go to apply. And that is where you can find information about the application. And of course, it has here a link to email us. So if you have any further questions, any questions we didn't answer tonight, you can email us. As I mentioned earlier, if you email us at like 11:59 on August 9th, we might not be able to get back to you in time. But if you give us a little more time before that, if you're having issues, uploading documents or anything like that, please let us know by email so that we can assist you in a timely fashion. Give us enough time to help you. And then, yeah, Danielle, did I miss anything? Is there anything else? I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we should
I think sometimes people have issues going onto the website. Just make sure to do like www.detroitblackfarmer.com. And that's sort of helpful. And again, like we answer, between Aaron and I, we answer all of the emails that come through to the Gmail. And also even on the website, when you click Let's Chat, that sends a message to us as well. So we'll make sure to reply there too. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's like a lot of it. But like Aaron said, like it'll be really difficult to answer your questions like 3 minutes before it's due. So definitely feel free to like reach out to us. Like we'll even set up some time over the phone if you need. I would make time for that. I'm sure Aaron would too. Yeah, that's about it. If there's anyone that wants to drop a question in the chat, there's a couple people who sent some messages there too.
Oh yeah, I see. Okay. Let me see. You have a name or registered business for you. Oh yeah, that's a good. Oh yeah, so I'm gonna do this out loud because I always forget this, and then later on the Zoom, I'm like looking. I can see myself looking at the chat and not saying what the chat says, and then the people in the recording don't know what the chat said. So what are all the things that we had in the chat? In the chat, we had everybody said hello. We put DetroitBlackFarmer.com. Okay, we talked about Detroit Black Farmer Land Fund at gmail.com is our email. DetroitAgriculture.net is where you can get information about the Keep Growing Detroit Garden Resource Program. I wonder, and that's also linked in the application as well. So you don't have to worry if you don't have to write it down. And then some questions back and forth. Let's see. Do you need to have a name or registered business before you apply? No, you don't. And let me read some of these up. If it's zoned for residential, do you need to request a zone change before you submit the application? No, you do not have to submit a zoning change before you submit the application. We can assist with that process. We do advise folks that, of course, residential zone property is one thing. You will want to change that from residential to agriculture, and we can help you with that process. But commercially owned properties are tough to buy. And that's going to be it's a different process. And we can't guarantee that we can even get that zoning change to happen. But so if the property that you're looking at is zoned commercial, again, that just goes back and speaks to why the application asks you to include 2 parcels of land, right? So if there's some land that you really want, but it's zoned to be commercial, I would say definitely find a residential address as well, just in case the commercial address is unavailable or we're unable to help make it available for you, if that makes sense. So that was a good question. It's another good question from the chat. Can you upload more than 1 letter of support? We think it's just meant for 1. Okay, and that's good to know. Thanks for answering that, Danielle. And if you have other documents that you want to submit with your application that won't upload on our site, please just go ahead and email them. Make sure to put your name in the box, the text box, or the name of the email. I apologize. I don't know what people call that, but put your name there so we can match it with your application. So, and again, Detroit Black Farmer Land Fund at gmail.com. Okay, I can exit can I edit my application? Oh, that's a good question. If you've already submitted it, I think you would have to resubmit the whole thing. So I would say, Danielle, if they want to edit it, should they just email us? Or if they want to change something, should they just email us?
I think that you can edit your response. Yeah, here, I'll make it so that you can edit after you submit. Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay, great.
You just gotta navigate your way back to it, and then you can edit it. But like Aaron said, if that doesn't work out for you, just go ahead and refill the whole thing out, and then or reach out to us and say, hey, can you send me a copy of my application? And then you have to fill it all back in again.
Okay. So that's why we were saying at the beginning too, maybe it might be good to start your application in a separate Word document, and then move your answers over once you've kind of gone through everything. You've figured out your parcels, you got your plot plan. So when you have all your stuff together and you're ready, then you put it into the application to submit. So yeah, it's fun. I'm a moon person. So if you're counting, it's a new moon on the 8th, which is the day before the application is due. That's a great day to start new things, right? So it might be a good day to submit. But Jacqueline, I see that your hand is up.
Well, the question, again, going back to the upload, you told us it would be a good idea to have 3 plot plans. Is there a limit on the size PDF? Because I'm thinking if I combine them into one document and just upload them that way, it would be easier. So is there a limit on is there a maximum for upload?
Oh, did we say, I don't remember saying that we need to have 3.
So
we need to have 3? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, there is, let me scroll down to it.
You said 3 choices of land, so I'm thinking 3 plot plans for those different choices of land.
Oh,
Yeah.
What was it's 2? Well, I mean, I think we require 2. If there's a third one,
Okay.
then that's good too.
Well, 2 rather.
Yeah. Oh wait, we already have the application open. That's right.
So when you're uploading, the maximum file size is 10 megabytes.
Okay.
So if you're able to send it with all in one PDF or something, that would be cool.
Okay.
But if you can't, just go ahead and just send it to us through the Gmail. And then I think there was a question, Aaron, from Michelle about water.
Oh, okay. No water if the land has no water, would putting down water buckets and rain catchment systems as my method to irrigate, is that sufficient for the application? Water access is one of my biggest caveats. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the most important thing is that we just want to see, and we want the application committee to see that you've given some thought to how you're going to provide water access to your farm or your garden. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Maybe once you are awarded, I'm a claim it for everybody. Once you're
Thank you.
awarded from the Detroit Black Farmer Land Fund,
Yes.
and you have your one-on-one with one of us, and we talk to you about it, and we get down the line, and you're getting your land. Maybe at that time you'll have to like make some adjustments, or maybe you'll want to do something a little different. But the key at this point is to show that you've given some thought to the water access issue. It's an issue that a lot of us have. And so we
Yeah.
just want to make sure that you've given some thought and really budgeted to some extent to provide for some kind of water access there. So
Yeah.
that's the most important part.
I was wondering if you all had any information or knowledge about contacting the water companies. Like, is there anything that they could do to sort of help in this, venture? Because I'm sure that, I was told that it could cost somewhere between 10 and 20,000 easily to get the water. So suppose I bought a piece of land and then I wanted to build a house. People were saying to get the plumbing and everything up and going, it could easily cost that much money. I'm like, whoa, it's kind of discouraging because that sounds like a big, if I want a greenhouse and I have all these plants, buckets, to me, that doesn't sound effective. And if I'm depending on rain and it's not raining, that doesn't sound effective. Like I would love to do the work, but I don't want to be unrealistic either. So I just want to talk about that before I even get started with this and tackle it. 'Cause
Yeah, I
that's a
think
big deal.
I think it's really important also just to just wanted to say that like I think it's really great about the Grown in Detroit, Garden Resource Program. You have contacts to the garden development team. I think connecting with them is really great for you to kind of talk that stuff out, and that's why that support is there.
Okay.
That's super helpful. First and foremost, the point of the Detroit Black Farmer Land Fund is to focus on making sure that the land is like able to farm on. So
Okay.
not necessarily like, is it gonna be enough water to like create for a whole house or a whole, like that's a different
No.
story.
Well, actually, I meant like for a greenhouse because
Oh,
that's
okay. Yeah. So
was
I think consulting with the garden development team for Keep Growing Detroit is really helpful for that. And I think I see in the chat, Timothy had some feedback that he wanted to offer, if you're cool with that.
okay. I didn't see it. Yeah, could you tell me? I'm not on that screen anymore.
Oh, it just says that if Timothy wants to come on and unmute, feel
Yeah,
free.
Timothy, if you want to unmute,
Yeah.
I was muted, so I was like, okay, go ahead.
To share this feedback, but I feel that it was helpful towards our organization as we had an issue with watering plan. One thing we did was we did do a lot of our major plantings in the late fall, like around October. That way, it didn't require too much heavy watering. In addition to that, we had these rainwater stations where most of the rainwater happened in the spring. But what we did was work with community organizations, but more particularly the Detroit Fire Department. And they worked to fill up our rainwater barrels twice a month. We had 600-gallon barrels. So that definitely secured our water plan the remaining year. That can be kind of helpful working with local fire departments to know about your project, but to help water your rain barrels, but also in addition, planting your established plants later in the season where they don't require too much water.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I appreciate that. What's your name again?
I'm sorry, Tim Jackson with Detroit Hives.
Tim Jackson. Okay, nice to meet you. I'm Michelle. Is it okay if I look you up and contact you later?
Absolutely.
Tim Jackson. Okay, I definitely will be reaching. Okay, and you do bees too? Because I'm interested in the bees. Okay.
Yeah, that's part of our mission.
Yeah, hi. Okay. Well, thank you for
Alright.
that. Yeah, I'll definitely reach out to the fire department. I actually had them in my mind, but I didn't think they would do all of that. I was gonna ask for access to the fire hydrant. We do that at Palmer Park. They allow us to access the fire hydrant to water the rain catchment.
Oh, good. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I know some. I think it kind of depends on who's the fire
Right.
person in that district, I think. But yeah, I mean, I think that's something you should always we should always try to ask for, like, as Black farmers in the city, with water access being an issue. It's definitely something that we should ask about.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Well,
Oh,
that's
good, and
encouraging.
that's good. Glad to see that cross pollination. Oh,
Right.
sorry. And then I'll say too, for Detroit Hives, I did see that you all just started following us on Instagram. So thank you. So Michelle, they are on Instagram too. So are we. We're at Detroit Black Farmer Land Fund on IG, and we're also on Facebook. So and then follow. I see Detroit Hives. Anybody else wants to drop their Instagram or Facebook in the chat, that would be awesome. So we can make sure to follow you guys too. We do a lot of our, we try to post everything on Instagram and Facebook when we can. So it's a good way. Awesome. Thanks, Timothy. Detroit Hives. Yep, I just saw you guys on there. Oh, this is cool. It's exciting just to hear little bits and pieces from all of you about the visions that you have and the things that you're bringing into fruition through the Detroit Black Farmer Land Fund. It's such an honor for us to to be stewards of these resources so that we can help you all bring these dreams to life. So
Well, we appreciate you even more for being here. So you have
oh,
no idea. It's a win-win, and I'm so grateful to
well,
even
thank
be,
you.
to have the same time and space. I'm excited. We're
Yeah,
not
I
worried
know,
about the
right?
water, right? We're not worrying about water.
Mhm.
Worrying about the water and thought, you know what, just let it go, Michelle. But I
And
think
I think it'll all come to come to fruition. That's
Yep.
the important part. And I guess I know I'm still sharing my screen, but I wanted to, there we go, boom. This is the map again. So so you guys could all be a part of this next iteration, right? Like this next map. And soon, Detroit's gonna be overrun with Black farmers, which is exactly what we want. But I mean, it's exciting just to see all of these great operations popping up, how everybody is helping and supporting each other. All the farmers are doing these dinners and trading and swapping produce, and it's just really beautiful. It's really developing into a beautiful community in and of itself, and so glad that you guys are willing and able to be a part of that. And then I see Joshua has his hand up. So Josh, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I had a quick question for Keep Growing Detroit. How long does it take to set up a soil sample?
Oh, it's pretty quick. Yeah, so I mean, first you got to be part of the Garden Resource Program, and then that same link, navigate your way to the Garden Development Support Form, and all that information is right there about the soil testing. I've heard that we get once you do the test and they submit it, it's a pretty quick turnaround now. It's only like a couple weeks, whereas before it used to be like 30 days to get the results back, but it's very quick to hear back from them about the soil testing.
Okay, so do we have to have the soil test back prior to the application?
No, you if you already have one on file, we just really want to make sure that people know about the status and lead levels of their land when they're about to farm on it. I think that's the biggest thing that especially if someone says that they want to you want to farm on your land, you want to make sure that the food that you're putting in your body or giving out to other people is not contaminated. So that's part of that. You don't have to have one in process. You don't have to, you could also have one already on file, as long as you know that yourself about the soil testing that's going on in that land. That's important. We just don't want you to get to a point where you've already closed on the land and then you go ahead and do a soil test afterwards and you're like, oh shoot, this is not, the lead levels are not good on this land. So
Okay. I was
And-
just wondering, ma'am, I guess last question would be, so say you're not going into the dirt, but everything's gonna be in raised gardens and things of that nature. Because that's a part of your plot plan, so
Yeah, I think
um,
it's
I was
important
just
to,
wondering.
yeah, it's important to test the soil in there too. If you already have raised beds, it's important to test in there as well.
And then Josh, I came back here to the first page of the application. If you go down on the first page of the application, there's a link right here. And this link, are you a member of Keep Growing Detroit's Garden Resource Program? That'll take you here to the Garden Resource Program website that Danielle was just talking about.
Okay.
And you can apply if you're not a member. That would be 2021 online application. But what Danielle was also talking about was the gardener support page. And so you click there and that gives some information on soil testing and stuff like that.
And I would say too, even if it's like, it's a good idea to test your soil before you build a raised bed also, because like your soil might be good and you went ahead and like built raised beds, you know, so that's, you kind of want to just get a feel for where you're at and see how things are going with the land itself, before you move forward with a lot of things.
Well, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
No, thank you guys so much. Oh, awesome. Oh, come in. But yeah, I think that's, gosh, I think we covered everything, if I'm not mistaken. I think, oh yeah, I've been sharing my screen for like ever. So I can, I'll unshare my screen, but yeah, that's, that is the Detroit Black Farmland Fund 2021 application process. We are looking so forward to seeing all of your projects and seeing all the things that, you know, people are putting in motion, the beautiful things that people want to bring to their neighborhoods in Detroit. And again, my name is Aaron, and this is Danielle, who's also with us, our lead co-conspirator of the Detroit Black Farmland Fund. If you guys don't have any other questions, I'll stop recording. But thank you guys for joining us. This will be available to folks on our YouTube. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube. I'll put it in the chat one more time. Our address is, our email, or not email, web address is DetroitBlackFarmer.com. So check us out. Thanks, everyone.